I will start by arguing that the reality is we all struggle with this notion. We use this, in many cases, this text has been used as a very climatic expression in a sermon. The preacher hits the high part, and we respond with a great praise. We know all things work together. The reality is, though, we all struggle with this notion because we really don't believe all things. At best, we believe some things, but we do not fully believe that all things. We are limited in our scope. Because we are limited in our scope, our faith is limited. We rehearse it, we sing it, we dance to it, we shout to it, we bump to it. But the reality is, when the rubber meets the road, if the truth be told, all of us have been guilty at some point or other that something came up and you didn't think it was working for your good. Consequently, because we don't believe all things, and at best we believe some things, we do not think. And if we do not think all things, then we never arrive at a place where we can actually declare emphatically, and we know. And we know, to know is a result of a thought process. If I don't believe, then I don't think. If I don't think, then I won't know. Oh boy, I don't want to get to. The King James, I recited to you what we commonly consider the version that was transcribed and given out in 1611 by King James. It is, in fact, the foremost accepted authoritative translation of the Bible. But I will say to you that when you study language, as I like to do, you discover that the King James's version has some flaws, because everything is lost in translation. And when you are translating from Greek or Hebrew and Aramaic, which the Bible was predominantly written in, to Latin, to English, there are some tenses, there are some words that are missed. And so consequently, you can be quoting something and it not mean fully what you quote. The scholars continue to research this and argue, and particularly Dodd, I'll use him. Dodd calls this what we commonly embrace as the King James version of this particular verse as a serious mistranslation. The original text and a few manuscripts suggest something different. The original text and a few manuscripts suggest that what is written, Paul did say, but in the original, he did not say what we have. The original is translated to say this: and we know that God causes all things to work together to those who love God and to those who are called. Here is the difference. And we know that all things is misleading, because we have to further investigate this, because all things could suggest that not just good and bad, but whatever I suggest is pleasurable to me, then I now back up and say God makes it good. But the text does not say that. The true text says, and we know that God causes, through this cooperation of good and bad experiences, to work out what he considers his purpose. It's just not going to work out for your good. It works out because God works it out. I wish I could talk to you. God causes whatever he wants to work out for your good. No. God determines that I'm going to take this rotten situation, this tragic issue, I'm going to take this traumatic experience and marry it to my purpose, so that by the time it comes to you, it's good. I'm not going to preach long. I'm almost finished. I really am. He says, and we know, this comes from the Greek word oida, or aida, depends on how you want to say it. But this word, and in the study of Greek, it is interesting because there are many words that describe the same word. So to know means a few words in a few places. That's why Greek is more definitive and Hebrew is more descriptive. Now, this may sound a little lofty, but I'm just trying to educate you so that when you read the Bible, you read it with a level of intelligence and not just what you heard on somebody's porch. The word here that Paul uses is oida. It is knowledge through observation. It is not information gained through experience. So he says now, and we know. And we know. What are you saying, Paul? And we know through what we have observed. And we know through our experiences. Y'all gonna get this in a minute. And we know based on what we've seen. Ain't nothing worse than somebody trying to report something and they wasn't there. Their information is sketchy at best, and whatever they don't know, they just start making up. But Paul says when it comes to the believer's relationship, we come to this place based on what we have seen. I don't want to start a riot in here, but I have to testify. This is just my story. This is just my song. There's some stuff you can't shake me from. There's some issues and situations that you can't rock me out of my place, because I simply seen him work. Oh boy, I wish I was preaching to the right people. Look at your neighbor and tell them, I've seen him do it. When I tell you he'll make a way out of no way, I'm not just filibustering. I'm not filling in the blanks. I'm not just trying to say things to tickle your emotions to make you move. Turn to somebody and tell them, I've seen him. I've seen him. Oh, there's a different ebullience. There's a different posture that you take when you have experience. Oh, God, is there anybody in here ever been sick and God heal you? You qualify for the first three words of this text. And we. Has anybody in here ever been broke and God make a way out of no way? Oh, look at your neighbor and tell him, I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it. The old folk, when I was coming up in the church, one of the good old devotional songs was, You Can't Make Me Doubt Him. Because I know too much about him. There is something that happens to the spirit of a person when you have experienced something. There is a conviction that comes across in your communication when you have gone through it and watched God bring you out. You don't bat your eye. You can look somebody square in the face and tell him, I know what I'm talking about because I've seen him do it, and we know.